Okay, here we are. We are live. Master classes complete. We've done our master classes, the last one for 2020. And so today I'm diving in. We had the most spectacular master class yesterday. I think probably one of the best we've ever had. It was full of so many beautiful, smart people that were asking such great questions. It was unbelievable. So I just thank you. Thank you that for everyone who attended. It's been such an honor to be able to do this and have you guys pop in and attend the masterclass. And we learn from it too. We learn from your questions. We're always like, what else can we do? What else can we do? Oh, did you notice this? Did you see that? What can we learn from this? And we're just always growing. Best class ever, right, Joy? It was unbelievable. So it's interesting. So today, what I thought we would do, since the master classes are done, enrollment into our program. So for those of you who might be new, I'm Carolyn J. Carpenter with Hollywood Gatekeepers. We teach people how to become readers. We teach you what is a reader, what is coverage, how to write that book report, which is basically what coverage is. And so we teach people how to do that. And so, sorry, I don't want things dinging. Okay. So we teach people how to do coverage. And so we do this by doing master classes, and we also have paid courses where you can join and take the course if you want. Totally fine, whatever, however you want to do it. But in these master classes, we tell it's all about all the information, and then it's up to you for implementation, right? Hey, Sheree, your computer's working. So, hey, Doug, what's up, man? It's the team, the best team ever, I might add. So, we're always like figuring out, more things to do. So we have the programs. And so basically the master class, these live sessions, they're just to give you information. And then it's up to you to decide how you want to implement it. One of the ways you can implement it is taking the course. It's awesome. So and we have a couple different versions of the course. We have a course that you can download, and then we have the insider track. And so today we're doing a couple things with the insider track that I'm super excited about. And so a few things, remind me to talk about contests. You got that, team, if I forget. So we're going to talk about that at the end. But today, I'm a virtual coach, a certified virtual coach. And I'm in a coaching program to learn about coaching because I'm always wanting to raise the bar and provide as many tools as I can for you. So in our coaching thing, actually, this is so amazing. But during our master class yesterday, I wasn't able to attend our coaching session. And then I got all of these pings like, you need to watch the replay of the coaching session. I was like, we meet five times, we meet every day. So it was like, I missed one time. Like I'm always there. I'm like, well, one time I missed. But we had this amazing energy in the masterclass yesterday. And it turns out what they were doing that they were saying I needed to be there is everyone was bragging about each other, like saying, this is what I think of this person, and this is what I've seen in that person. And apparently people were bragging about me and I wasn't there. And I was so bummed that I missed it, because I'm going to go back and brag anyway, because I'm sure there were a few people that weren't there that, I wasn't the only one. There were many people that weren't there that people were bragging about. So I thought this is such a cool thing, because in our culture, we're taught not to brag. Like it's not okay to brag. But I think we also we miss out in some ways when it's a sincere form of acknowledging someone for the things that they do. And so I thought, you know what? And so this is all happening like on the fly. So hopefully I don't forget people. But what I did was I just kind of scrolled through our students and kind of looked at everything. And I was like, oh my goodness, the more I looked, the more there was. And so I'm going to do this is really just a skim of like the people that we interact with in the insider track, things that I'm seeing people doing. And I thought, what a great way to sort of celebrate these masterclasses, celebrate this time that we've had together, and celebrate what our screen readers are doing and who they are, because we're seeing so much activity and so many things happening. And I'm seeing so many personal shifts and professional shifts. And so I'm not joking. I went through and just made a kind of off the top of my head list, and it's like 150 people. I was like, oh my gosh, like that I could like identify and be like, oh my gosh. So, we have hundreds of people in our program, and then I'm sure, I hope that people are able to watch this, because I'm sure there's people that are in there that are doing things that I just don't know about because they're not active in the Facebook group or in the live sessions. So if you are someone this rings true to you, come on in and brag about yourself. Like, tell me, like, what was your best takeaway from the masterclass? There were people in the masterclass that were asking so many great questions yesterday. And in all of them, there's always people that ask great questions. It just happened yesterday was just a different energy. And I really think that part of that was both of those things were happening at once, which is so amazing. And so, like, give us your best takeaway if you did attend a masterclass. Like, put it in the chat. Like, did you take away something from it? I hope you did. We are, whether you join our programs or not, we are always trying to provide value in the masterclass. We give downloads in these sessions too. We come every single week and we'll give you handouts, and we talk about life things. We talk about screenplay things. We talk about all kinds of things. And I'm always trying to raise your bar because I really feel like if you have a life that you are happy and content with, you're going to be a better reader. You're going to be a better person to be around. You're going to be happier, more content, all of that ripple effect through your whole life. So I'm going to just go down this list. Are you ready? This is so fun. So these are screen readers that are in our programs, and I'm just going to make a few little comments about people. So there's a couple of people that I know pretty well because, I mean, that was one of the things that we didn't even consider when we first started this. That was the biggest takeaway has been you. Like, hello, like, let's teach people how to do this. Not really thinking about the people at that point was like I talk about them. And then I'm like, oh no, these are the people. These are our peeps. This is our tribe. This is our people. Like, it's amazing. And so being able to kind of talk through this I'm super excited. So and it's so great that he's at the top of the list. This is so funny because his name is Alan. So I did it in alphabetical order just because I wanted to make sure, like, it's not about favorites or anything like that. It's just like, I want to just kind of make sure, and I'm going to read just some names, and some of the names I'm just reading because I know that they're active and I've seen them in the group and I'm super proud of them. And some of them I have little tiny stories or whatever to tell about. And Alan is the very first person that said, I'm in. He's the very first person that joined our courses. And he's the very first person to join Momentum. Like, he's someone who throws his hat over the fence and he makes things happen. And I just love, and he's still super active. He's the very first person that took a chance on us. And so he will always have a very special place in my heart because he's the first person, like, is this going to work? You know, we did our first masterclass, and not only that, our first masterclass was such a disaster technology-wise because it was our first masterclass. And so when it came time to join the course, you click the join button, and it actually went to a page that said, site unsecure. Not only, we're already trying to convince everyone we're not a scam, and it was like, ah. And so I gave out my personal phone number. I'm like, call me. I'm a real person, whatever. And he didn't call, and he believed me, and he joined, and it was like, he got it going. And then Bev, who's like, I'm going to talk about in a second, she actually called me. She's like, okay, I hear that it's you. I hear that it's your voice. I'm like, it's me. This is for real. We'll get the glitch fixed, whatever. But that was our throwing our hat over the fence and diving in. So Alan will always have this special place in my heart for that. And then we have Amy and Andre and Anna, who's actually a writer who's like raising the bar in our Finnish programs. And Bart, like, we haven't seen Bart for a while. I'm sure. So I don't know if Joy will even know some of these people, but Type will be like, oh my gosh. It was just so existential conversations. And then we have a couple of Bevs, and Beverly, and actually Bev is also the one that called me. It's also the one that came up with the writer's room. So we have something in the Insider Track called the writer's room, where if you are a writer, we're going to talk more about this later, you can submit your screenplay and we'll put it for other people to practice on. So we have writers in there, and everybody signs a non-disclosure. What happens in the writer's room stays in the writer's room, and the writers can, the screen readers can cover the writers. And so that was her idea. She's like, we're writers. Can we share each other's work? And it's so great, right? And Bob, and then Bonnie came into our screen reader program, and then she joined our Finnish program. She wrote her first screenplay, and I got to hand it to her because we ripped that thing apart. We gave her such detailed notes, and it was like, and she has started a rewrite that is probably one of the best rewrites I've ever seen, in terms of her really taking in notes and not making it about ego and just diving in and doing it. Like, she is amazing. I cannot wait to see where it all leads. And then I'm just going to read off a few more names of Bradley and Brenda and Brittany and Caroline and Casey and Katrina. They're all like doing coverages. I see them being active. I see them being active in discussion, which is in the Insider Track where you can make comments. Charles came in and did a whole thing on log lines. He needed help with the log line. We ended up working on it. It was really fantastic. Chaz is like wicked smart, best grammar ever. Like, he's, as I say that, he's like someone to really lean on for that. And we have several different versions of Cher, Sherry, Cherie. Like we have like all these different shares in there too. And that's not even that's in the C's of the shares. And then Christy, who's the best audience ever. Like Christy she just like has so much joy. And whenever I'm like not sure if someone's listening, I look for Christy because she's always like, she's always like right there with me. She's laughing and like her microphone's off and she's always like right there with me. I just love her. And then Cindy, who's probably the sweetest person I know. And she shows up to everything and she's awesome. And she's just one of the most positive people I've ever met in my life. And Connor and Dawn and Deidre is new and she's like screaming into the gate, like coming in strong in homeroom, and she's just really awesome. Donna, Ed, can I say Ed is always here. Ed is like a rock in the group. I rely on Ed. Ed has an actual job in the group where he provides links when we need them. And he's also wicked smart and has a long background in the industry in a bunch of different ways. And so he's really well read, always making really smart comments, like just really fun. Elaine, another one who's like all in. She's another one kind of like Bonnie that although her story with writing a screenplay was that she came in and she didn't get her screenplay finished in the first round. And then she missed around. And so then the second time she was determined, such determination. And so much so like, I mean, the way that she doubled down and decided to write a screenplay was unbelievably cool. And so now she's in there. I mean, she's just always showing up to everything. We love Elaine. She's probably watching. And we have a couple of Elizabeths. We have Elizabeth that shows up in homeroom. We have Elizabeth that have written coverages, all of the coverages that have come out, because in the Insider Track, I give reviews on coverages. And so it's just been really great to see people actually learning how to do this. We talk about Emily all the time. We're going to talk about Emily in Insider Track today. She's a scientist and she has a blog, and she's using her skills as a scientist to help writers if the science in their screenplay is real. She's such a great example of if you have some sort of special skill like that, you can use it to your advantage as a reader, and she's doing that and crushing it. She's so amazing. And then Echo, who's just, I haven't seen him for a little while, but he's been so great, such a really present and really nice and really wonderful guy. And then Florette, who has a really unique way of saying things. I constantly read things from Florette and I'm like, she always makes me think a little bit. She's just really, really creative and interesting. And we have Jeannie and Hulda, and Hulda holds a really space because Hulda is someone who was like, right at first she was a little bit unsure. She was written me emails a couple of times, and just like she has such a strong voice, and I really think she's going to have a great story. She's building something. I can't wait to see where Hulda goes, because she shows up to homeroom all the time, and I really adore her presence and what she's bringing to the table. And we have like 6 Heathers, and we just did an interview with Heather a couple of weeks ago. That's Heather of Turning Scenes. So we have many Heathers that are active all the time doing coverages and being in there, and like, yeah, Ed's blog, right? So yeah, you guys add in if you think of stories or whatever. And then James, who wrote a great coverage, and Jane, who makes me laugh on a regular basis, who's just so fascinating, the things that she brings into things. I just love it. And Jay and Jessica, who's just landed her first job, and she's pretty new, but she's just screaming out of the gate. She's in homeroom all the time. And we have a couple of Jessicas actually, and we have Jill. And these are, I mean, there's like hundreds more that that aren't on this list. These are the ones that I've been doing coverages that I've seen that are really active. And Jill is also really wicked smart, a writer as well. And Joanne, who will also kind of like Alan hold a place, because she's our first graduate. She's a Nickel Fellowship finalist, and she's also our first graduate, and just really wicked smart, and obviously a great writer. Joshua and JT and Juliana, she's had some things that she's had to do in her personal life, and yet she's not letting it stop her. She's always just double downing. And then we have a couple of Kevins that we haven't seen for a while, but they came out. I'll never forget one of the reviews that one Kevin did of Wizard of Oz. Just didn't like Wizard of Oz. Really hilarious, and just a really great take on Wizard of Oz. And Kelly always has a different background. I was trying to guess where she is. Like, she always has these backgrounds from her travels, which are really great. And then I have a few Carries that start with K. Like I mentioned, we have a lot of different Carries. We have a lot of different Monicas. We have a lot of different Heathers. Kristen is another one. We have several Kristens. We have a Kristen that's a writer. We have Christina. And we also there's Christinas and Kristens. And one of them is doing English as a second language, and really like double downing to help people that speak a second language. Larry, who comes up with really great ideas. He's always coming up with really, maybe we should have this and maybe we should have that. And really great guy. And Leah, who actually I think wrote one of the best coverages that I've seen. And she's not even in the Insider Track, but her coverage, I happened to see her coverage and it was awesome. Leanne, Liz, Lynn, Marcy's always really active. Marianne, who is also a a health coach, and she's going to figure out, I think, how to combine that. I really think that there's some cool things that are going to happen there. We have a couple of Marks that are great. Mark Lewandowski, who's been really raising the bar, and he's also a director, and he's been doing a lot, and he's been asking really great questions all the time. And then Mark Holm, who's really active in discussion and does really interesting questions in there as well. And then we have Marta, and then we have the Mickey. We call the Mickey and Mickey show, which is we have a female Mickey and a male Mickey, and I'm going to come back to Mickey and Peggy in a moment. And we have Mimi, and we have several Monicas. We have Monica's on our. We have Monica, who's a producer. She's been interviewed in here a few times. She's also on our podcast because she's producing. She produced, acted, starred in a short film. She's also been producing with a director from New Zealand. She's amazing, and she's got it going on. And then Mushi, like we all go Mushi. We have if you go to our Screenreader page that I'll share in a moment, you can see an interview with Mushi, and she is just all sunshine and light and lovely. And Nikki is also a screenreader, and you also see her on our page. She's a screenreader and a writer, and has just really been such a force in our group. And Noelle is someone who's, I just noticed, she's one of the ones I talked about where I didn't even realize that she was doing things, and then I happened to come across her site, and I was like, she's got her own business going. I mean, it's just so amazing. And we have Paul, who's a producer. He's Canadian, and he's like right at the gate, I'm like, oh, you're a producer for sure. And so he really just has this great eye for producing. And then Paula, we have a couple of Paulas, but we have Paula, and Paula is someone who, I'm going to talk about Paula in another way in a moment, but she, I have to say, she was someone who stepped up because she was struggling. And because of Paula, I joined a coaching program because I was like, I'm not going to let people hang. And if I'm going to coach people and help people, I want to know actually how to do this. So she really helped me raise my bar. And then I get choked up when I think about it because it was such a brave moment on her part and on both our parts, really, because it was like, okay, let me try to help you. And so I just kind of coached her through it. And then I thought, okay, I need some tools to do this. And now we have someone who's coming in to the Insider Track next week who's going to help us with how to just regulate your anxiety, which is so important for you as a reader. It might not seem related, but it absolutely is, because for you to be able to regulate yourself, be in a great space, you'll be able to approach the project in a different way without bringing all your own angst to it, right? You'll be able to do it, and do it right. And then we're going to talk about Peggy in a minute, and Phil and Pippa. Pippa brings such a sweet energy to everything she does, and she's in homeroom every day. And Regina and Renee and Ritika, who's also a coach, and I'm really curious to see how she puts it together. And Roblyn, who came in as a script supervisor and then also became a writer, and now got a writing partner with Steve, who I'll talk about in a moment. And the two of them got together, and now they've started their own business together. Like, really exciting. And then we have a couple of Sallys. One Sally was super vulnerable and came into Insider Track, and she was actually coached by Oscar winner Bobby Moresco, and just really, such an honest, really wonderful exchange between them. Really moving moment. And then we have a couple of Sarahs. We have Sandy, who's a world traveler and shares her experiences with us. We have Sarahs that have been doing smoking coverage and have been showing up in homeroom every day. And then we have Scotland and Scott. We have all these different people that are show all the time. And I'm going to come back around to Sean. And then Simone, who's been screaming out of the gate, like she's new and she's just like a real presence right out of the gate. She's got some really interesting projects happening, and she's not quite graduated yet. As soon as she becomes an alumni, we're going to share some of her programs because I'm really proud of the work that she's doing. Really important in these days, in these times that we're in right now. And then, like I said, we have a few Steves, and then we have Steve, who also he's Roblyn's partner now, and he came in. He came in as a reader and then started writing, wrote his first screenplay, and then partnered with Roblyn, wrote another screenplay. I think he's got a really great series on his hands, like really, really inspiring. And then we have a couple of Stevens as well. And then we have like several Susans, which is Susan's a very prominent name in my life as well. I have 5 really good friends that are all named Susan. It was my mother's name as well. So, and Susan shows up in homeroom. She's been doing coverages, and then a couple Susans in homeroom actually. And then Tad, who came in early, and he's a writer as well, sharing things. And Tammy and Troy, who has his own amazing Instagram channel where they're doing movies all the time. And Valika, who really she asks really good questions of Victoria and Wendy, and Will, who's an actor, director, and Zara. Like, as you can see, it's just like, there's so many cool, things happening. I can't even say enough. It's so much fun. And we show up in homeroom every day. And if you're not in homeroom, I highly recommend that you come into homeroom. We're there every single morning, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 9:30 Mountain, 10:30 Central, 11:30 right now. Yeah. And then 11:30 East or 11:30 Eastern. And we get in there and we just work together for 15 minutes. And these are some of the regulars. I'm sure I'm going to miss someone because this was really off the top of my head, which is Aline and Kathy and Deb and Deidre and Ed and Elaine and Elizabeth. And you'll see some of the names are similar. Halda and Jane and Jessica and Juliana and Kelly and Kristen and Leanne. Leanne's been new and she's been like really impressive as well. Mark, Mary, Paula, Pippa, Rodalyn. Rodalyn's new as well. Welcome. And Ron, and both are Sarah's, and Charmaine and Sheridan, who's also new and jumping in there, and Shree and Simone and Susan and Susan and Susan and Tanya, who has the most beautiful smile ever and is also a writer, and Trish, who comes in as Dirk actually, but she's Trish. So, and she's got her own business that she's building. It's just been like, whoof-da, like really, really amazing. Just making stuff happen, right? Screenreaders making things happen. And I was like, oh, well, I'll pull a few people out. And then when I started looking, I'm like, oh my goodness, like I didn't even realize like how many people were in there making stuff happen. And so I wanted to come back to a couple of them, which was, one was like the Peggy and Mickey story, which is such a great story of Peggy, who writes, Peggy has this innate skill of writing coverage that is very honest, like very to the point, very direct, and yet she uplifts in a really unique way. So it's you really feel like she's someone that's like, here, come on, let's do this. Like she has just a really great style about her. She wrote a coverage in the writer's room of Mickey's screenplay, and Mickey you see in this group all the time, and he's gonna like, he's super humble, so he's gonna be like, I'm sure he'll post some sort of defacing himself remark because he's very, behind the scenes, and yet look in this page and you see him everywhere. I absolutely love. He is a writer's writer. He's a writer. And that's been one of the things that we worked on with Mickey right out the gate is like, you are a writer, own that you're a writer. Come on, stop saying you're anything else because you're a writer. And so he wrote a screenplay. Peggy covered it. And Doug and I were working on another project where they had decided to do a horror film, and they had asked us to write this horror film. And then we saw Peggy's coverage of Mickey's screenplay. And even though it was a pass, she was saying the screenplay needs some work. She said, what we train, there's a hidden gem in here. And so we looked at it, and typically we don't read the screenplays in the writer's room, but we did because of her coverage. And then we took it to the production company and they were like, yeah, let's do that. So now that's in development as we work on rewriting that screenplay so that it can be produced. So someone got their script optioned, which was never the intention of this group, not anything that we ever thought we would do. And so seeing that happen has just been, it's just been so, so inspiring. And Mickey's also involved in the other story I wanted to tell, which is Mickey and Paula and Joy and Sean, who all got together and decided to go. And then was it James Joy, right? Or Patrick? James Patrick? Is that right? Like, let me know in the chat. They got together at the Austin Film Festival because they had been, we have so many people reading for the Austin Film Festival that the director of the scripts department came in to speak to everybody to say, okay, this is what we need. This is what we're looking for. He's like, ooh, gold mine of readers. This is awesome. So really sage, really great guy. It's just an amazing experience that we had with him. And so when you read a certain amount of scripts, you get a badge. Mushi did this as well. Joanne has done it. Alan's the one that got the ball rolling. Shocker, right? He's the one that was like, hey, I read for the Austin Film Festival. Anybody else want to read? And it was like, shh, all these people. So they acted like a bunch of college kids and got together and actually went to the film festival because you get a producer's badge if you read a certain amount of scripts. And so by reading those screenplays, not only is it great training, but they got to go to the festival where they're sitting with a producer's badge. So you only get into certain things with that badge, and you can meet producers as a peer, as opposed to like, hi, whatever, like trying to, tackle them in the hallways or whatever. It's just really, really the AFF squad. James Patrick, thank you, Joe. I thought that was right. And so they got there and they got an Airbnb together. Here are these people that didn't know each other before this program, all from different states, and they just piled into this Airbnb and they went and they just had a great time. Well, Sean, being Sean, had a movie that she had written and was planning to film. And so she needed to do a trailer. So they ended up shooting her trailer. So here this group came to be, readers, and they end up like starting to make a movie together. And then which brings me to Sean. So that story is just like one of the ways that people are coming together. It's been really exciting. Oh, and I forgot about Robin. When Robin first came in, she actually, and we get this a lot where people are like, oh, I'm in school already. I don't know, have time. What she did was she took her final project and she used the Screenreader course to create a business to present to her final project in her other school. Like, so brilliant, right? So, and now she's just starting her own business and just really amazing. So Sean actually, COVID happened. She wasn't able to make that film. So what does she do? She writes something else, something she can make that's smaller. And then she films that. And now the screenplay is winning awards. And then the movie is now winning awards and being accepted into festivals. And so she's just someone who's like makes lemonade in a major way. So it's just been like, whew. That was like one long breath. And there's just, I'm just so amazed and impressed and honored and humbled and thrilled at being able to be a part of any of this, and just never really thought about that element of it, of watching these lives like unfold in this amazing way. And so today we're actually have our screenreader sessions. We do them at 1 o'clock on Thursdays every week. We're in there live. We do a different thing every week. We do, the first week we started Star Wagon sessions. So that's like everyone just hanging out. That's where people hang out on the set, is in the Star Wagon. So we just get to know each other. We do prompts to get to know each other. And then the second week, which would typically be this week, we do Screenreader Spotlight, where someone who is starting their business, we have a couple of people scheduled for today. I'm going to talk to Emily, the scientist I talked about what her next steps should be with her website and kind of help her with that. We have Jessica, who's she just finished the course and she's already working. And so we're helping her like get her hit list of where else she wants to work and really get going. And then every session I talk about coverage, because that's what it's all about, really. And then the third week we bring in a guest. Like I said, next week we're bringing in someone to deal with anxiety. We have producers, line producers, comedians, Oscar winners, like so many people come in on that third week. And then the fourth week is all coverage all the time. We talk all about the coverage and the checklist, and I go through what I'm seeing in coverages. And then the last week, if there's a fifth Thursday, we'll do something that has to do with all of the virtual life coaching that I do. So something that has to do with like imposter syndrome, or how to get past obstacles that hold you down, or how to manage your task list, or whatever it might be. So these are just some of the topics that we cover. And so that's what we do in the Insider Track inside that program. We also have the self-paced program where you can just download the course and take the course on your own if you want to do it that way. So this is kind of a little basic thing. This is what we covered. We covered all of the details of being a reader in the masterclass, and then we opened up enrollment. So enrollment is currently open. If you want to check it out, you can go to HollywoodGatekeepers.com/screenreaders. There's a whole page that outlines everything. You'll see the interview with Mushi. You'll see a bunch of stuff. I'm going to put this on there so that, because it's just such a great way to brag about our people that I'm so proud of. So, but you can also see some, people talk about the program. You can see exactly what it is and see if it's something that you're interested in. We'd love to have you. But also today we are doing kind of open house. We're going to do it behind the scenes inside the Insider Track. So if that's something that you feel that you want to participate in, you can come to HollywoodGatekeepers.com/behind the scenes. And so we'll put those in the chat. Yes. So HollywoodGatekeepers.com/behind the scenes, and join us. Just go to that page at 1 o'clock or whatever time it is for you, 1 o'clock California time, and click on there. There's a Zoom link and you can just hop on in, and you can kind of see what it's all about. Check it out. See if it's something. If you are already in the self-paced version, come on in, see if it's something. You can always upgrade if you want. Anything that if you're in the self-paced version and you upgrade, we will apply whatever you spent on that self-paced course. Will apply it to your membership, or it's not a membership, but we apply it into you being into the Screenreader program. So come on in, check it out. You can see just kind of what we do in there, and you can kind of meet other people, and it's just the greatest group ever. And then we also have a thing that's happening right now. So anyone who joins the program today by midnight tonight, we are doing a special thing with contests where we will give you a list of contests that you can reach out to become a reader, because that is one of the best ways to get experience, is through contests. So those are the things that we had planned for today. I'm super excited. It's been such an honor, and I can't wait. This is definitely something I'm going to continue to do. So I'm going to continue, and as you look at comments, I've seen some really amazing comments, and someone posted the other day, like, I know I don't show up live, and I know, I'm not that active, and I don't even think she's in our programs, but she said, but this inspires me every day. And it's just like, oh, this is so great. So, that's what we're here for. That's what makes life cool, right? Is the reciprocity of giving and learning. And I learn from you, you learn from me, I hope, and we go back and forth with it. And so I just wanted to kind of mention all that. And then I'm going to mention two final screen readers that obviously I have a very special place in my heart for, and that is Joy and Cherie on our team. As we grow, where am I going to go to find team members? The obvious spot, people who get our programs. And so I was so thrilled that both of them agreed to join our team, and I found them in the Screenreader program. And that's where I'll continue to look. As we continue to grow, that's the go-to place to find the people that get our messages and understand what we're trying to do and are making it happen. And so, you know, that, I mean, I'm so fortunate, and so fortunate to have Doug in there, just who's been there obviously right from the beginning. And we have this amazing little team, and we have Jean, who doesn't come in, like, she's also on our team. And we have this amazing team. It's a small but mighty little group. And we're just always sharing and coming up with new ideas and trying to figure out, we're in Slack together. We have like screen reader support guests, like all these threads in Slack of what else can we do? You know, how can we get people moving forward? And I'm really double downing in the time to come forward in your success. Now that we have, like, we had to learn, we didn't know how to do an online business. We wanted to teach people how to read screenplays. So in this learning of creating an online business, which is why we created coaching and consulting, which basically followed our step in creating this. And so we have that in the insider track as well, where it shows you how to create a website, an email list, and all of that. So we're doing, as we learn, now that we've got kind of the system down of the masterclass, now we know how to do this. Now I'm double downing on you. Like, okay, all y'all need to get more work. So I'm going to be double downing because I'm seeing people create businesses, and it's so exciting. So I'm figuring out ways to bring in more producers, really helping you curate your list of who, because it really is your personal story. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more tomorrow. But, you know, how are you going to do it? So we are here for you in order to do that in many, many different ways. And this has been such a thrill and an honor. And I know that most people watch these lives in the morning in the replay. So join us, make a comment. Let us know if you did attend the masterclass. Please let us know, like, what was your biggest takeaway? Because we learn from that and we grow from that. And it's just been such a pleasure and an honor. And thank you. All right. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye, you guys. Yay.